The Cornu Fe and Albertine ranges are some of the most beautiful appliances you could consider putting into your kitchen. The selection of colors and trim, well, it's just like having jewelry in the kitchen. But for me, it's all about the cooking. We know the cooktop has great features with the gas burners and the now optional accessory plug. But what about those ovens? How easy is it to cook in an oven that you can't see into? Of course, it's very easy. Again, great tools. The right-hand oven in the Cornu Fe is a convection-only oven. That's a snap, pretty much multi-level cooking or baking or roasting, and everything cooks to perfection. The left-hand oven has more tools. This oven has a bottom heating element and a top heating element. So now we have straight convection, we have a conventional oven, we have a bake mode with just the bottom heat, we have a browning element, broiling with convection. You get the idea, lots of tools. When it comes to baking in the Cornu Fe ovens, it might be a little intimidating because you can't see in the oven. So I want to take you through some different baked items and give you some tips that I've found help me tremendously to get great results every time. When it comes to baking cookies in the Cornu Fe and the Albertine ovens, these are the tips that I have found work really consistently well. First is the type of pan that you use. Totally flat cookie sheets that have a lip either on one edge or on two edges. When you bake in convection, it's really important not to use a cushion air pan. You don't need any more air, there's already plenty circulating around the oven. Now remember, convection is a strong driving heat and it's forcing the air around the oven in a circular pattern. So it's vital that you reduce your recipe temperatures by 25 degrees. But these are smaller than the average oven, so that means the heat's quite concentrated. I find that sometimes a tad under 325 is good, or even a little less time. Not every oven is the same, yet we're all trying to cook one recipe and achieve the same results. We obviously need to fine-tune for the tools we're cooking with. So convection is a great choice for cooking multiple racks of cookies or items like scones, because this is what the bakeries use to cook multiple racks at one time. If you don't have totally flat cookie sheets, you can also use a rimmed baking sheet. Now, you'll have to test which ones work best. This is a Gold Touch pan from Williams-Sonoma, and we love it because you can see it slides directly into the tray slides. You can use this type of tray for things like scones, certainly for roasting vegetables and doing regular cooking. But for cookies, we find the perfectly flat sheets give it some more even results. Remember, if your baked items are uneven, in other words, a dark ring on the edge, not cooked in the center, the temperature was too high, you need to bring it down just a tad more. When it comes to cooking muffins, you can use either the convection mode or regular bake. Now remember, in convection, recipe temperatures will come down by 25 degrees. But because these ovens are small and the heat is concentrated, you may also find with regular bake that you need to moderate the temperature just a tad, but definitely the time. I cooked these muffins in the recipe time and temperature on regular bake, and they got just a little bit sunburned, whereas the muffins I cooked in convection are just perfect. As you get to know your Cornu Fe oven and play with cooked baking in the different modes, you'll soon learn where you have to shave off a little bit of time and temperature. Remember, smaller ovens, concentrated heat, but either mode, convection or regular bake, will give you good results. Now take note that when I cooked on regular bake, I had the muffins down low in the oven. This allows the gentle heat from the bottom to cook the muffin through, and they're not too close to the top heat so they don't get over browned. When it comes to baking a cake, we tend to want to use the regular bake mode, the conventional oven that has heat from the bottom and heat from the top. You can definitely use the convection feature to cook your cakes if you want, but you will notice that the crumb is slightly different. So try it in both modes and see which you prefer. Now, rack position is going to be crucial when you're using regular bake. I baked this cake on rack position 2. So that's one position up. And I had it on the drop-down rack, the rack that drops down about 1 inch, because I was trying to get it away from the top heat. Now, the recipe time said cook for 25 to 30 minutes at 350 in regular bake. I baked my cake for 20 minutes and it got awfully sunburned. So what did I learn from this? That next time I'm going to bake this cake, I might drop the recipe temperature by 5 degrees, and also next time I'm going to drop the rack position to rack position 1. In this oven, the top heating element is a little powerful, so I find for baking cakes, I want to keep it away from that top element, but I want the benefit of the heat from the bottom to cook the cake through. So if you're having trouble with cakes that are getting too brown on the top and not cooking through, drop your rack position and also drop your temperatures by about 5 degrees, and definitely watch the timing. If a recipe says for 30 to 35 minutes, set the timer for 20 minutes and take a reading with a tester then to see exactly the degree of doneness. That way you won't have to make whipped cream to disguise your mistakes. Now you might be asking yourself, when should I use regular bake and when should I use convection? Well, there are some foods that just love regular bake and hate convection. Soufflés are best cooked in regular bake. Meringues, regular bake, because they need to dry out. So anytime you have a batter that's a heavy, dense batter, kind of a wet batter, and it needs to dry out, that's the time you want to use regular bake. The great thing about the Albertine and the Cornu Fe ovens is that you can start the baking in the conventional mode with top and bottom heat, and then for the last 15 to 20 minutes of the baking, you can go to bottom heat only. With these pumpkin breads, I had the recipe temperature at 350, and you can see my breads didn't cook evenly. So next time I make them, I'm definitely going to drop the temperature another 5 degrees. In terms of timing, they were done in about 45 minutes, whereas the recipe timing was 55 minutes. So you can see the oven gives you all the tools that you need to cook well, but rack positions are important, temperature and timing. Now, over the years, I've worked with a lot of people who felt that they had more confidence if they bought an oven thermometer. But here's the problem. When you put the oven thermometer into the oven, where is it going to be sitting? Right at the front of the oven. Where is the sensor that controls the thermostat for the oven? Right at the top in the back of the oven. So if you feel your oven is cooking too hot, and if you have followed these tips that I've given you, then perhaps call service. But first, I would recommend trying some of these tips because, again, smaller ovens, more concentrated heat, less timing in regular bake. Using convection, always bring your temperatures down by 25 degrees, and in some recipes it could be even 30. The great thing is you've got all these wonderful tools to work with. The fact that you can go to regular bake at the bottom just to finish your foods is a great feature of these ovens. The fact that you have convection for multi-rack cooking, honestly, you really can't go wrong. You just have to get some confidence about not being able to see into the oven, and before long, you two will be humming along beautifully.